If someone accused you of being involved in a murder and you had nothing to do with it, would you just let it go? Would you let people believe that you were involved in someone's killing when you weren't? Would you let them continue to think that without setting the record straight? Well, that is a moment that we're going to break down today. P. Diddy's federal trial is starting super soon. It starts next week. And a lot of people are rewatching old interviews and looking at them and trying to figure this all out and put the pieces of the puzzle together. But there's this one moment that has resurfaced in the Breakfast Club where Charlamagne asked Diddy a loaded question. It's wrapped in humor, but it's really framed as journalism. But there's something deadly serious because he asked Diddy if he has anything to do with Tupac's murder. Diddy answers, but it's what his voice and body do in that moment that tell the real story. Let's break it down.
Listen, 7 years ago, I'd have been like, yo, did you hire somebody to kill Pac? But no, you do it like a journalist.
Yeah, no, I mean, we wouldn't even get into nonsense like that. You know what I'm saying? It's nonsense.
Which we never believed, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, I just want to... Charlamagne says...
Listen, 7 years ago, I'd have been like, yo, did you hire somebody to kill Pac? But no, you do it like a journalist.
Now, this isn't just an indirect question. It's a strategic pressure test. That phrasing gives Diddy just a little bit of wiggle room, but underneath it, there is a clear assumption. But let's look at how Diddy responds.
Yeah, no, I mean, we wouldn't even get into nonsense like that.
He doesn't start with no. He doesn't say, I didn't do it. He says, yeah, nah, which might sound small, but it really isn't. This is a non-linear denial where you start with yes, but you end with no. That's got to give you pause and make you wonder why with such a heinous accusation, right? Think of this. When someone is clear, confident, and emotionally neutral, they lead with clarity. They would say, absolutely not. That never happened. I didn't have anything to do with it. That's ridiculous. But to start with yeah, nah, sounds like someone who's actually processing the information in real time. Maybe Diddy was initially agreeing with Charlamagne about how Charlamagne would have handled it a long time ago, or that it was better to ask it in a journalistic way. But when someone is suggesting if you had to do with somebody else's murder, it seems to me their first answer should be no. Then you go on to explain something different. So what this leads me to believe is that there's a lot of emotional load for Diddy that's behind that question. And this emotional load happens when people are carrying a lot of feeling, whether it's stress, fear, anxiety, even though they're trying to seem composed. It slips out in how you speak and how you move or how long it actually takes you to answer a question. This could also have happened because it's a sign of cognitive dissonance, which is just a fancy way of saying that your words don't fully match what you're feeling inside. Like there's a conflict between your body and your brain. So your tone sounds a little weird. Your phrasing can seem off, or maybe you sound like you're actually trying to convince yourself more or as much as the other person. And let me ask you this, who's we? Charlamagne asked Diddy a question about himself, but Diddy answers with we. Now, it seems like Diddy was pulling other people to show that he's got support because there is strength in numbers. But let's also take a look at Diddy's head. After Charlamagne asks the question, Diddy disconnects and looks straight ahead, and he shakes his head no. He continues to look straight ahead. This is a way to disconnect, to have some like psychological distancing. And it's not only visual, he's trying to pull himself out of all of that discomfort. So that's why he looks dead center when he's answering. When a topic makes you uncomfortable, sometimes the only way to get through it is to disconnect. You disconnect visually, you disconnect physically, you disconnect emotionally. Looking away isn't always about thinking. Sometimes it's about not wanting to feel. When he turns his head away from Charlamagne, he starts to rub his head. And that's a classic pacifying behavior. Because when we feel emotional pressure or some type of internal stress, we instinctively find a way to calm ourselves. And rubbing your head is a subconscious way of releasing that pressure that you might be feeling. It's like releasing that pressure valve. It's almost like for him trying to release the tension of that moment. And turning away reinforces the avoidance. His body is trying to exit a conversation that his mouth is still having. Diddy says,
It's nonsense.
Which we never believed.
And here's the thing. listen to that last word, nonsense. It drops in vocal pitch. That shift matters because when someone truly doesn't care about a topic or believes that something is silly or laughable, they don't drop their voice like that. A drop in vocal tone can signal emotional weight. Sometimes it's pointing to that internal conflict or need to get control of the moment or the situation. Here, that voice drop works against his message. It doesn't sound dismissive, it sounds contained. Charlamagne jumps in to soften the moment.
Which we never believed, by the way.
Yeah.
And that sounds like reassurance, but when somebody feels a need to say that, it actually highlights the heaviness of the moment, of the situation, of the conversation. It's the kind of comment you make when you just feel that tension in the air and you think it just needs to be cut. Diddy sums it up or finishes with thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, I just want to this time, it's said more firmly. There's a stronger tone to his voice. And you might think, hey, all right, that's pretty confident. But if you watch the rest of his body language, he says thank you as he's rubbing his head. It's a pacifying gesture. He hasn't stopped. He's still looking away. He did not re-engage with Charlamagne. And right after that thank you, look closely, he tightens his lips. It's what we call lip compression. It's a way to stop emotions. It usually signals that someone is holding something back, whether it's anger, anxiety. Think of it like this, that it's a physical seal over what they don't want to say or feel. So this moment isn't just about one or two gestures or even about a tone of voice. It's the cluster that reveals the truth. Going from yes to no, breaking eye contact, rubbing his head, the voice dropping, tightening of the lips, avoiding eye contact. That cluster of behaviors lets us know that Diddy was very uncomfortable. It wasn't confidence, it was contained. He was trying to manage even the emotions, even though it leaked in his body language. It was a carefully managed reaction to something that increased that emotional spike. And those words, thank you at the end, those were words. His body is saying that this still haunted him. And any time that I see there's a mismatch in body and words, do you know what I believe? I trust the body. So there you have it. If you've liked this video, please like it and subscribe to my channel. So that way you will be notified when I post more videos about Diddy and his trial.